Shut up and sit down.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Midnight Showing. I'm Dan Connors.
And I'm Baylus Tunnicliffe.
Guys, this showing we saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. What did you think about it?
I thought...
One word.
Disappointing.
What?
Yep.
You're
only giving me one word.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. And I think I fell into...
This episode's over.
Well, how about you go ahead and explain it with one word, and then we'll both explain ourselves a little. You have one word.
The first thing that popped in my head was incredible. But then there's also a bunch, like.
No, but you only get one word.
No, I know. I was just saying, like, there was a bunch of them. But blown away isn't one word, but it's like a phrase. But incredible.
But see, here's the thing. If I want to go into some of one more, I would say it was surprising as well.
So it's surprising and
disappointing. I say disappointing.
Okay, pick one. No, not pick one. Pick one. Which would you want to talk about first? Do you want the good news or the bad news?
Well, I'll do bad news first. Let's get that out of the way. Then, yeah. So, disappointing was, I really thought this movie looked good. And then when they added all the other spider, so when I thought it was just the three of them, the girl, Gwen and Peter B. Parker, I thought it was this has some potential. It looks pretty high quality. And then they added
multiple.
Yeah, and then they had so many more, and then I was like, wow, this seems kind of weird. And then everyone was so hyped about it. So then when I went into it, I kind of was like, it's good. It just wasn't as good as I think everyone made it seem like it was gonna be. You know what I mean?
On the flip side, I thought it was better than I ever thought it could be. And you know me, I'm always one to get saturated by people's opinions before I go into it. I'll always hear Incredibles 2 is amazing, and
I always blame you for having an opinion of that. I'm like, why don't you just go into it with realistic?
I went into it personally, and I knew people were pumped, and I was like, this is gonna be amazing. I went into it being like, this is gonna be amazing, and it was better than I thought it would be, in pretty much every way.
Well, I had a similar surprising in that I thought it was surprising in that it was good in the ways I didn't think it would be.
Like how?
Can
I guess?
Yeah, if you want to guess.
This actual storytelling of there were deep personal moments of that was actually kind of sad.
That was actually one of them.
Yeah, it wasn't just it's Spider-Man flying around New York. There was actually family ties and moments where it's
definitely, especially when you're trying to throw so many characters into the mix.
Yeah, they balanced it so well of it was really exciting and fun to see them mixed together and Peter teach Miles and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But then also he has actual family drama and he has to realize he's still this kid, but then his dad's trying to help, but he's hanging out with his bad uncle and all this stuff.
Yeah. That was definitely a moment that a aspect of the movie that I thought was incredibly done. Well done, especially for the other Spider-Men who didn't have as much time to expose themselves because we were following the main character. Miles.
Oh, yeah.
Miles what?
Morales.
Oh, Morales, yeah. And I was thinking in the movie, I was like, that's a cool name. Because I always find the superhero names fun because, they're always same letters in both of them. Miles Morales.
Tony Stark. Steve Rogers. Ant-Man.
That's DC. That isn't. But yeah, the cool ones.
How else was it surprising?
It was surprising in that it was very funny.
You were surprised that it was funny?
Going into it, I thought that it was either going to be that they spent so much money on the graphics that they didn't have a good, whatever, the animation, that they didn't really, and then the idea behind it and the many characters, I thought it was going to be oversaturated with so many parts that they didn't have really a whole lot of backbone in their dialogue. But I was surprised that their dialogue was often witty and very, just refreshing, just new, especially coming as a fan of many superhero movies.
Well, and with characters that we've never seen on screen.
Yes. I mean, every
Because
single...
at least with, like, if you want to compare it to, like, Marvel with, you know, like, Civil War was the first one where people were like, oh, how are we going to, like, understand all these characters when there's, like, 15 people in the same movie? But it's like, yeah, but we had other movies to build those characters. That was the whole point of the cinematic universe. But this is, like, that cinematic universe in one movie.
In one movie.
And so I thought they did, like, amazing as of giving us details on these characters, like Penny Parker and stuff like that, where it's like, I don't want a movie of Penny Parker, but in the short screen time that she had, like, did well with, like, having me care about her, I guess you could say. Like, I didn't care about her, but in terms of, like, understanding her as a character.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I think that each of their characters were really fleshed out in the minor amount of screen time that they were given. And yeah, I don't know. It was very, very surprising and very well done. I think that there weren't a whole lot of weak parts about this movie.
So how does that fit with the disappointing? Like, let's go back to that. What I don't know. Was it just the hype about it, where it's like you weren't blown out of the water? Yeah,
it was just that everyone was so hyped to see it. Everyone was so excited, and then when I went to see it, I was like, damn, well, this better be really good. And nothing about it was bad, but it was just that, gosh, it was just that it fell short of the legend that everyone was so excited about. I mean, this was the movie of the season, I guess. You know, everyone was excited about this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I was pumped.
Yeah, I mean, and so it wasn't that it fell short in any specific area. It's just that
So it was the hype. Like,
it was,
you know that it was a good movie, but it was the hype that ruined it.
It was a great movie. I thought it was a perfect movie, and probably just as good as everyone was excited for. I don't deny that. I just thought it wasn't as good to me.
Yeah, so we just flip sides. Like, normally that's what happens to me.
Yeah, it was a... I almost found myself tired, especially after the second time we saw it. Like, there was a lot going on, and I noted this on my second watching of this movie, that there were so many lines I missed, so many lines of dialogue, so many very fast-paced scenes where they were talking very quickly, and it was funny, but, I mean, there was so much to process, you know, so much was happening, especially with this new animation style, which I'm not used to, and it was beautiful, don't get me wrong, they did it great and perfect.
I can totally see where people would be like, my eyes hurt.
Yeah.
Mine didn't. I loved every second of the animations and the colors and everything, but I could easily see where there'd be like, I don't know, some middle-aged person being like, oh my God.
I mean, my eyes, like, I was tired after watching it just because there was so much to follow and track during the movie. I mean, you know, especially with an animation movie, you get to choose the the angles very easily. I mean, they can do that really in any movie. So it was easy for them to direct you on where you're supposed to look. But I mean, with 5 Spider-Mans and many different enemies.
There was 2 women.
And Spider-Women. Do I have to include the animal too?
Spider-Ham.
Okay, there was 3 Spider-Men, 2 Spider-Women, 1 Spider-Pig, and 1 spider. With those 7 characters being our heroes of the story.
And Aunt May.
Yeah. And the many, many antagonists, especially with Doc Ock, with like 9 arms or however much he had.
They threw in like a lot of Rogues Gallery people.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of had, like, they had the main spider villains. Like Kingpin, Scorpion, Prowler, Doc Ock. I thought there was another one. I guess not.
Yeah, no, I think that's all. Yep.
Oh, Green Goblin.
Oh, yeah, Norman in the beginning. We don't see him. He dies.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Norman gets killed in the accident where he gets crushed into the rubble.
What?
Why do you think we didn't see him? Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
He does.
No.
Do you see him in the second battle? The final battle? In that same chamber? No, you don't. Because he was crushed in the rubble by the first Spider-Man that we see. The original Peter Parker. I'm right about this. Drop it.
I don't think... Okay.
It was like you saw his hand.
You don't see him. I don't think he died though.
He died. Otherwise, he would have been fighting. Where would he have gone? Where would they have put him?
I'm not gonna be in the boat that he died unless I see him.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're in the boat or not. It's not like
unless I saw him dead on screen, I'm not gonna believe it.
His hand was under the rubble, or like his hand was the only thing. In the first scene, after the blowing up of the reactor and Spider-Man gets launched into the rubble, Norman gets crushed. Oh, his head! He gets hit on the head. Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
He's like,
that.
"Oh, you have head trauma." He falls down, and you don't ever see him again.
I'm not gonna assume that means he died.
Well, he would have been fighting if.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna assume he died.
Oh my god!
We're both on the same page. I know what you're talking about, but I don't believe he died.
Did you see the scene where his hand was sticking out of like the mountain of rubble?
No.
Well, then you just missed it. There it was. Tried to give it to you, but because he would have been there.
I'm not denying that. But I didn't see him die.
Well, whatever. Anyway, so gosh, where were we? What else were we?
We were talking about disappointing.
Oh yeah,
like
it was disappointing.
No, it was not.
It's just
I understand. Obviously, that's your take, and that's the whole point of talking about this. But on the flip side,
the whole point of talking about it is for me to be right.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But on the complete flip side, I mean, like some backstory. I'm already a huge fan of everything Spider-Man, and I always have been. But so that can be a plus and a minus though, because
because you're a connoisseur of it.
Because I'm so I love the character so much that Amazing Spider-Man 2. I was excited to see it, but it wasn't a good movie.
Yeah.
So it's it can be a positive and a negative.
That was my favorite Spider-Man.
You're wrong. Andrew Garfield was your favorite Spider-Man?
Oh my god, that was that one? No, I thought you meant the original Spider-Man 2.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, I hated Andrew. Wait, Andrew Garfield's the first reboot.
Amazing Spider-Man is Andrew Garfield. Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire.
I hated the first reboot.
So Tobey Maguire?
No, what?
First reboot?
Yeah, because the first 3 movies were Tobey Maguire.
Okay, now we're just rating Spider-Man. Okay.
Yeah.
Mine, and I tweeted this too. I think this might actually be one of my favorite, this movie might actually be one of my favorite pieces of Spider-Man content. Not just movies, content. TV show, comic. I loved this movie.
That's pretty ballsy. The 1976 or 67 show was pretty good.
And then I think it's Tom Holland, in Homecoming. We've only seen him in one movie, but I think they did him really good justice. Tobey Maguire is close to him.
Actually, he was in 2?
Yeah. Tobey Maguire might, is hand in hand with him because of one nostalgia. Just because I grew up with it, and it's, it's always going to be like that. And then Andrew Garfield, I hated all those.
Yeah, I hated those
Even
too.
the first one, I just hated.
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't even really describe how much I loved it. Especially the first viewing. Like you said, we've seen it twice now. Second one, still, is so high up there. But the first time, I was just like, oh my god. It was just.
I mean, what stuck out to you the most that they did well? What made
they just did Spider-Man well? Because obviously it wasn't even just Spider-Man. It was that. Okay, I was so confused about that too. Is that I was confused by what kind of Peter Parker we were getting, because in the trailers, at least for me, they didn't really convey that the Peter that was training Miles was going to be an alternate dimension.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and so I thought that was the Peter Parker, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. I thought the same thing.
And I loved the fact that they were like, no, Miles is Peter, is this playboy guy that's suave and
Playboy?
Not playboy, but he's
married.
I mean, he's professional and this young hot blonde and everything, and he's the kind of he's not even the comic book Peter Parker, because the comic book Peter Parker is a nerd and is awkward, and the one that we get in this one is actually really interesting take on it that I would love to actually see more of. Is a super confident hot blonde Peter Parker that goes around and he's just as soon as he meets Miles, he's so nice to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Miles is I don't want to be like you. He's well, I'm sorry, but you don't have a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's I'll stick around. I'll show you the ropes. I loved that. Where
I wish we could have seen that Spider-Man. Keep going.
And he was like sleek and like he knew what he was doing. He was perfectly moving and everything.
Yeah.
And then like the one that we get is obviously like an alternate reality divorce Spider-Man.
Let's talk about this because there were some really minute details in
the alternate
obviously
dimensions.
Every single Spider-Man we saw was not of what we know. There's comic books.
Yeah.
Can we confirm that? I mean, I don't think Peter B. Parker, the fat one, I don't think he would ever, like, in no world does Peter Parker grow into that. I mean, there are comic books for each of these characters, so yes, but the main comic book, I think, is what we're talking about here. I don't know enough about comic books, but I know that, yes, there are comic books for each of these characters. And the interesting thing is that Miles Morales was bitten by that spider, right? And that's how he got his powers. The interesting thing is when he came back to that area to check out that spider and see if it was okay, it got that glitchy thing, as though it wasn't supposed to be in that universe. It glitched out and his body left. It was destroyed, disintegrated.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
He poked it, and it disappeared from that glitch. Yes, it did.
No, it didn't. He walked away, and the legs were still in frame.
No.
Yeah.
No, it glitched out.
Yeah, but then it was still there. He walked away.
But it had only been a day. So the point is that glitching only happens when something enters from a different dimension.
Oh, you're assuming in the future it's going to disappear.
Yes. That.
Okay, I thought you meant in the frame it disappeared.
I thought it did, but either way.
No, because it glitched and then he like jumped back and then
I
he
could
got the
totally
Spidey
see that
sense,
happening.
And then he walked down and then he saw Peter fighting Goblin.
I could totally see that happening. I just thought it had disappeared. But either way, my point is still proven that it did glitch out. So therefore, it must have been from an alternate dimension.
I didn't think of it like that.
Well, but it had to have been. Even though we only saw it fire up once, it had to have been. That's how that happened.
Just saying I didn't.
I'm thinking through myself. So, really that spider? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. I honestly am just interested that. Well, first off, we're respecting the rules of this. That poison was technically part of that spider's body, so all of those poisoned, like poison, quote unquote. I mean, like, the altering DNA of that poison should have disappeared, right? So technically, Miles should have died, right? I mean, maybe not. Let's just reel back a little.
One thing that I thought was really interesting, we were talking about it before, was the whole cross-universe things. Is how well they did, like, the background of how it's a different universe. Like, they showed it a couple times. The Spider-Man swinging across the Coca-Cola ad, and it was slightly different every time. It was like cola soda for Miles' universe, and then it was like Coca-Cola for Peter's.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was different for each universe. And then, like, in Miles' universe, it's the PDNY, not the NYPD.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I was getting really weirded out, and I thought it was just like a licensing issue. Like, they couldn't put NYPD on
No, it was
there.
just like in the normal universe, ours, it's NYPD, New York Police Department. But in Miles, since it's an alternate dimension, it's Police Department of New York.
Yeah.
And so it's just like little details like that.
That's really interesting, where it cements you into this world.
Like it's the same world, but it's an alternate dimension, so everything's slightly different.
Yeah.
Where it's like, and then when all the spiders are given their background of like, for who it was that died, that made them become Spider-Man.
Some of them still had their fathers.
Yeah.
Like Gwen had her father. Miles had his father.
Well, Peter's was Uncle Ben. Then Spider-Man Noir was his Uncle Benjamin, which I thought was funny because it's from the 30s. And then like Gwen had her friend Peter, who wasn't Spider-Man in that universe.
Yeah.
You know, Miles's was his Uncle Aaron. Like, I thought it was interesting how it's like, it's the same story. Like, it literally is that someone has to die, that you have to realize you can't save everyone, and then you become Spider-Man. But for everyone, it was different.
Which is interesting because we never found out what Peter Porker, who he lost.
Yeah, he just said you can't save everybody.
Huh.
But yeah, I just thought it was interesting how they did so well on showing us other different universes.
Like, totally different.
Well, the same, but totally different.
Well, but we saw that, like... Oh, wait, obviously, yeah, because Gwen is not Peter. So obviously she would have her parents just fine.
That's one that I thought was really weird. That I loved everything about how they zoomed in and then they're like, I'm in New York, but it's different. Why was she, for whatever reason, her alone was sent back a week in time travel?
Yeah,
like,
that's
I thought
true.
that part was weird. She's just like, I've been here a week already? Why did she time travel, but nobody else did?
That is super weird.
That was one of the only things that I was like, I wonder what the reasoning is behind that. Obviously, it was
especially
so that like he would meet her in school, and we would think that that's her, but in an alternate year, like whatever. It just was a weird explanation for being like, she was already Spider-Gwen that whole time, but the week that she was there, she's just like, oh, I need to go to Vision's Academy because like I feel like something's gonna be there, and she's just pretending to be a student. How did she even get in? First of all, like
she has to take the entrance exam, and
I thought it was weird that for some reason she time traveled, but nobody else did.
Yeah.
But.
And plus that like probably leads you up into a lot of possibilities of like, well, then technically this could be possible. Like it just kind of opens up your story into possible.
Well, I guess Penny's is time travel too, because she's from 31.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. 3150.
But they didn't really like that. Wasn't as much of a home point.
Which, by the way, do we all become anime in 3000?
Yeah.
Is that what happens? Like, we just all become
anime characters.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
We get psychic links with spiders. Like,
which, what did the spider do for Penny? Was it piloting that huge thing? And then if so, what was she doing? Like,
I mean,
why?
Yeah, she could. Well, so it's a psychic link, so technically she was piloting it, but...
Wait, so you're telling me that she psychically controls this spider?
I think the spider was like the power core, you could say, because it was like in there running the robot, like powering the robot with the powers. Because like
that's a powerful battery.
When she took it out, it like lowered out of this little hatch.
Yeah.
But like when she was controlling it, she hopped in. I don't know. I took it was like a mech. Like she got in it and drove it like a mech. But then that doesn't make any sense because she was, I guess the psychic link was the spider was controlling it while she wasn't in it.
What if the whole time the spider's actually controlling her via psychic link?
That's what I was gonna say. What if she's the spider? What if it's like in Men in Black where the guy like unzips himself and he's like a cockroach? What if like she unzips and she's just a giant spider?
Wait, but then was the little spider? Is that the baby spider?
We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, this is a dead hole or dead. Oh my gosh, dead end.
I loved Spider-Man Noir. Like he was. Awesome.
I really did too.
Like I like that comic line too. It's really interesting how they spin the character to be like from the 30s and all black and white.
Yeah.
And he's like a PI instead of like a photographer for the Daily Bugle or whatever.
I love how he's like, I'm a PI and I love beating up Nazis.
Yeah,
like a lot.
They just threw that in there. I let matches burn till they
just so I could feel something, and then it dies before it hits his fingers.
Nicolas Cage was like the perfect choice for that character.
Seriously,
like just that's what he would sound like.
Yeah,
like it just is.
It's surprising. I'm surprised that. Well, I guess he just doesn't look like he's from that age. Well, and no one makes noir films anymore.
He totally should.
He totally should.
I love that like style.
It should just be a noir.
Hey, let's make
Spider-Man
a
noir.
Let's make a noir film.
Okay. Who's gonna be the main character, me or you? Both. But it's a silent film too.
Oh no.
Actually, this doesn't sound like a good idea. Now that I've reconsidered. Okay, anyway. Spider-Man Noir was good. I think my favorite Spider-Man was probably the original, Peter, the one that died.
Yeah, that
Peter
guy was
Parker.
so cool. But
he
was supposed to be your favorite. That's why he died. You know, because they couldn't just keep him around.
Of course. Otherwise, then everyone else would be so awful.
Yeah, and it's not.
You'd be like,
it's not Miles' story. It'd be that guy because he's so cool.
Yeah. Technically, it really is his story because he could have died without his help. So really, the characters were all unique too. They didn't feel cheesy at all, which is surprising because they all had a very unique gimmick.
Well, yeah, especially like and also like going into it, I would have assumed I would have liked Spider-Ham the least, but I kind of found Penny Parker more annoying. As like I didn't care because Spider-Ham got the least amount of screen time. Like,
yeah,
he didn't really do anything.
He really didn't.
So I was kind of surprised by that, especially with like John Mulaney voicing him. Like I thought they would have kind of put him a little more. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It was interesting. We gotta stop talking about just those three. Like we haven't even talked about Gwen or the other Peter.
I didn't like Gwen at all.
You didn't like Gwen?
Gwen was...
She was amazing.
She was really boring.
What?
She was cookie cutter. I mean, what was unique about her?
I don't know. She looked cool.
She had white hair, and it looked way better after they cut it off.
And hot.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, she looked good. I mean, but come on, it's an animation. I mean... But I thought she looked way better with her haircut. So, if anything, Miles did her a favor. Give her a new hairstyle.
But, like, she wasn't just, like... I don't know. I thought she was super cool.
I don't know. I mean, I guess.
Well, Mr. Disappointing over here. Like, I guess you didn't like it.
Not disappointing. I'm Mr. Disappointed. I'm not disappointing in the
why
least.
can't you be both?
Because I'm disappointing. Wait, that's a paradox.
Disappointment.
I don't know. Like, she was definitely my least favorite character. Even though, like...
She was your least favorite?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, wait. Other than Kingpin.
You didn't like Kingpin?
Kingpin upset me. He was huge. It didn't make any sense.
That's what he's supposed to look like.
It didn't make sense.
He's supposed to look like a giant tank man, like guy.
He looked like he could fit 3 Banes width across. He was a wall. He was an actual wall.
Yeah.
A movie.
That's what he's supposed to be.
Then how did he get up on, like, anything in the final battle? How did he get there?
You literally just said it's an animation. So.
It just broke my immersion.
I guess I mean I can see it, but also like I guess because I know the character and everything, he's supposed to be this huge bald dude that's like just obsessed with power.
I just hated him because he made no sense. Because his whole motivation was, oh, I hate you, Spider-Man, because you killed my family. But then we go into the origin story. It's like, wow, I'm beating you up, Spider-Man, because I hate you, but for no good reason. And then it's like, oh, wow, my kids are there. Wait, no, don't look. And then she takes the son, and then they drive into traffic. It's like, what? You're going to blame Spider-Man for trying to beat the hell out of him?
Yes.
That makes no sense. That is literally, like, the epitome. Gosh, it's like the epitome of not realizing the consequences of your actions. It's like, wait, I tried to beat up Spider-Man, so my family went out and died in traffic. So it's Spider-Man's fault because I was trying to beat him up. Like, what? I don't know. He just pissed me off. He was huge. He was not proportionate. The only thing about him
None
that was
of them
cool,
were proportionate. Nobody was. That's the point of the cartoon
Gwen
animation.
should have. That's yeah.
She's probably the closest. No, that's
no.
Miles is Peter Parker, like the original Peter Parker. That guy was like,
Yeah.
that guy was well toned.
Yeah. Like,
but then it would be like Gwen, and then Miles,
and then Peter B. Parker.
Yeah, that's probably what
that
somebody
makes the
would
most
look like.
sense.
And then Peter.
Wait,
Peter,
Gwen is not in that list. No.
Yes, she is.
She was not proportionate.
Yeah.
Let me just say, she was not proportional to the average human person. Let me just leave it at that. Don't touch that one with the 39-foot pole. I can make that reference because it's still Christmas time. So, 39 and a half. Sorry. Anyway.
I don't know. I love the design, like, because it was different. It was interesting. It's like how they would draw him in a comic book. They're not going to draw him just like a normal dude. That'd be so boring.
I'll give you that.
If he looked like a normal white
I will
man,
give you that. But
he'd be boring.
I guess I didn't hate his portrayal in the movie. I hate the character. Why is he so large even in the comic books? It doesn't make sense. It pisses me off.
Because would you be scared of just a kind of buff guy? No, you'd be scared of that guy.
No, I've never been afraid of any buff man in the world. Of course I have. What?
Yeah, but I mean, like,
if he talked
be as...
like, I want it tomorrow. Tomorrow, my reactor. He's like constantly sounding like he's about to like pound somebody into oblivion.
Which he is. That's the point of the character.
He just... And why did he pound all the time? It's like, why not just punch him? You'd, like, crack their neck.
You mean how he, like, kind of, like,
He's like,
smashed
ooh!
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you could easily apply that force in numerous other ways and kill them. You probably would have killed Miles in the final battle if you just punched him.
Yeah, how did he not, by the way?
Yeah.
Like,
It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
He's like a 12-year-old, right? Right?
Yeah.
Or he's going into high school, so he's like 14.
Yeah.
and I mean, Peter Parker admittedly was like destroyed from like.
And he was 26.
Yeah, he was 26, but he was built.
I liked that part
He was
too.
built.
I liked that part too, where Peter B. Parker, he's like, I've been doing this 22 years. It's like, whoa. Like, he's been Spider-Man a long time.
Jesus, yeah.
Like, Gwen was only doing it for 2 years. And then we didn't get the numbers of the other people. I liked at the end where Miles was like, I've been Spider-Man for 2 days.
Yeah. And I am the one and only Spider-Man.
And, like, that suit.
His suit was the best. Easily the best suit.
I loved seeing all the suits in Peter's cave thing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was so cool seeing
it was like Batman, though. It's a ripoff of Batman.
Oh, my God. We're not going over there.
Everything's a Batman ripoff nowadays. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Miles' suit was so cool. And it's one of those things that, like, obviously I'm glad that we didn't just rush his origin story.
Yeah.
And, like, he's Spider-Man all of a sudden. But, like, it's also one of those things, like, I just want to see a whole movie of him flying around and, like, swinging through New York in that suit, you know? Like, that like, I think it's like a minute or two montage of when he becomes Spider-Man and he's sitting on the skyscraper and then he jumps off in the, like, it's from the trailer.
With the jacket.
God.
Yeah, and he's upside down, like, falling. That was gorgeous. I wanted to just sit in that moment.
I have that as a computer wallpaper.
Oh, my goodness.
I can send it to you if you want.
That was beautiful.
But, like,
please do.
When he falls and he's just like, they got the physics amazing with how they swing. Because right after he catches himself.
Well, you know how they did that, right? They had the real Spider-Man come in.
Right after he catches himself on the skyscraper, the way he swings, and they portray the swinging so well.
Yeah.
With the physics.
Especially in the winter, or the when they're escaping from the
lab or whatever,
where they're both like swinging at the same time. They really get to show that double tap the release.
Oh yeah.
That was really good.
Oh, I love that part where they're inside and Peter's like, I got good news. We don't need the monitor. He throws the monitor.
Yeah. Oh. Man, I think Peter B. Parker was probably the funniest character.
They did him really well. And like I said, it was so interesting to see that kind of take on Peter Parker. Because we feel like he's just like a kind of basically depressed, divorced old guy.
Yeah, my favorite was his origin story. When he's like, yeah, I'm pretty much awesome. And then he's like crying in the shower. And then he's like, and then I was, in my room doing crunches, sit-ups, workout. And then it's like him just eating pizza with his gut out.
Humor is so good.
Ugh.
Are those sweatpants? Like, yeah, that's what they are.
Yeah.
Aunt May was an interesting take on her.
Yeah.
She's like this badass old lady that knows all the secrets and she can build and stuff.
I didn't like it. Everyone was too cool in that universe.
That's what makes the movie so cool.
No, I mean, it didn't make any sense. Like,
but I love that part when they're about to fight in her house and she's like, "Can you take it outside?" Because they're about to destroy her entire house.
Exactly. My favorite part is when they're going through the animations of Aunt May watching the several things being broken, and then Peter Parker just breaks something on his head. He breaks like a plate on his head.
They got the physical comedy really well too.
Yeah,
and like I said, the physics of how people move, you gotta at least admit the fluidity of Gwen's movements. Like I mean, because she's supposed to be like part dancer, I guess, with the ballet shoes.
Yeah,
and everything. Like they did her justice with how kind of feminine and fluid her movements are when she's fighting. She's very agile.
You don't need to be a dancer to wear ballet shoes. Like I could put on some ballet shoes right now.
You know what I mean? With how agile she was. I thought they did that really, really well.
I thought she was probably the least interesting character of how they moved her, actually, because she was a dancer, so she would pull off these tricks that seemed to be too fast or like too fluid for someone to really pull off. I mean, I could totally see it in this universe. If you were a dancer and you were really balanced, flexible, stuff like this, you could probably, and had spider webs coming out of your arms, you could easily probably get away with a lot of these moves. But it's just like, I liked seeing Peter B. Parker more because he was larger, They accompanied for that. And he looked like a normal dude was trying to do this. Like it looked like we were watching it happen rather than them animating a scene of like a bunch of really athletic people. Like they all moved in ways. I guess it's just
my take on it because like I'm a fan of the character and everything like that. I don't want to just see like a tubby broad guy do it. Like I like seeing the kind of the sleek and toned fluid motions of.
But we've seen that so often with every other Spider-Man. We see that, and I thought it was just interesting.
It never gets old.
I mean, I will give you that. Like, I enjoyed watching the other Spider-Man.
No, I'm definitely saying it's interesting seeing their take on an out of shape Spider-Man. Yeah. It was interesting, but I would not say he was my favorite to watch because, like, definitely my favorite was Miles as Peter, like of how poised and professional he was in his movements, and they got his humor perfect too, where he's like, he gets knocked under the collider and he's just like, oh, I'm so tired, and then he gets up and fights more, and then he's like, what's your thoughts on head trauma, because he got the spidey sense that thing was gonna fall.
Oh yeah.
Norman. But I think his was definitely my favorite to watch. Obviously he wasn't there long, so then it would be Gwen, like, because I just liked how I liked how they animated it, and that she looked so agile and like fluid of how a very flexible spider person would act.
Yep.
You know, I don't like, to me, Spider-Man is not that kind of blocky, slow, like, dude.
Well, technically Gwen isn't Spider-Man. She's Spider-Woman.
Woman.
Gosh.
I think my least favorite was by far Penny Parker to watch.
Yeah, she was
like,
really
she was
boring.
just like clanky and like, I don't know, the way she
I don't know, the robot moved fine, but
why did I feel sad for that robot when it died?
I know, right?
It's just a robot.
They made such a huge deal out of it. It's like she was crying about it too. And it's like the spider's still alive. Like I actually thought the spider had died.
It was because it was her dad's machine. She said that.
Well, can't he just make another?
He died.
Oh.
In her universe, he's the one that died, and he built that robot for the spider. But I'm saying, like, why did I feel so sad when the little thing...
Now I'm really sad. Yeah, what?
Because it showed the little hearts right as it died, and then it died, and I was like, oh. Like, why did I just feel so sad for this robot?
Which, I loved this movie primarily because, I mean, we've seen Spider-Man, and Spider-Man looks best when he's in a suit, full suit.
Of course.
In any movie, regardless of which movie. But in this movie, we got to see their eyes move, you know? And, it was such a good thing because we actually got facial things with this. There was so much more character to, rather than just seeing Tobey Maguire in the same mask where his eyes are covered the same way.
And that's why they're finally fixing it with Homecoming. Like the newer Marvel Spider-Man. What? The eyes move? Yeah.
What?
In Spider-Man Homecoming, they did that.
Really?
Yes. Because the whole thing is that Tony Stark made the suit for him, so it's a programmed... Like, it's literally just like a computer that he's wearing, and the eyes move. You didn't notice that?
No.
Yeah. In Civil War and Homecoming, the eyes move.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Because they fixed it because now it's CGI. CGI is good enough that we can do that. That the actor wears a real-life suit, but then the eyes move CGI. Like, back in 2000s, when Sam Raimi was making his Spider-Man, like, it was just a suit that Tobey Maguire put on. But now with like CGIs, we can actually like make it look.
Oh, rip to those days, because you know Tobey Maguire could steal one of those. You know, like Deadpool. Deadpool stole one of those, or not Deadpool.
It's still a full suit though. Like the eyes are still there.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I don't know how this stuff works. Let's just that'd be the takeaway.
I know what you mean though. Like, it obviously adds so much character to seeing the eyes move and like twitch and you know.
Especially because we never saw Peter Porker out of his. We saw him once out of his...
I don't want to see him.
I don't want to, but we saw him in his origin story. Where he was bit by a radioactive pig?
Yeah.
What? Like, so he turns into a pig? Or is he another pig that got bit by a radioactive pig and then became sentient enough to... Like, what? I can't... Was he a human who turned into a pig after he got bit by a radioactive?
I guess we'll have to wait for the sequel.
Or just watch it a third time.
There's definitely going to be a sequel. Absolutely.
I don't want to see any of those characters again.
Oh, you mean like new Spider-Verse people?
I want to see Miles Morales grapple with 4 new Spider people.
They were absolutely going to have it.
They're going to have Gwen.
Yeah.
And that one guy.
Gwen?
At the end of the post-credits scene.
Oh.
That guy's going to be a part of it.
Because Gwen and Miles like already have a thing. Well, in the movie and in the comics.
Wow.
But
spoiler. I was planning on reading those.
There for sure. There's gonna be a sequel.
Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I think they knew that too. I mean, it's so annoying nowadays that like studios are just like, yeah, we're gonna make a sequel already. Like no matter what the sales are, because they knew that this was gonna sell insane.
Well, that's the thing that with movies, they know before the movie's even out, they know how much money they're gonna make just by how much money they put in.
Yeah.
it's that solid of a business that they're.
I wonder how much they put into this. Like, because that animation couldn't have been cheap.
This is where we need a fact checker in the back. Going ahead and looking all this stuff up, and we have like something on the intercom. I've just been informed.
You know what? I just checked the funds. We don't have enough for that.
We just crunched the numbers.
This just in. We don't have enough for that.
Oh my. Well. Oh well. Well, just pull a number out of thin air.
I wonder how much this took, or how long it took.
I'm betting it took them. Gosh, I mean, I don't know. What? Let's just use the basis of it. What do you think? Like they usually spend like.
Avengers Infinity War was like 200 mil.
Oh, okay, really? Then I'm thinking this is like 120, maybe 130 million. Because most of that time probably comes from, or money comes from like the studio and hiring all the people in the back end to support the cast.
All animation.
And then for Infinity War, you're just paying a lot more actors.
Yeah.
Probably is how it works out.
All
right. Well, what was your least favorite scene in the whole movie?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, like it was perfect. Least favorite. Let's see. I guess one of the ones that stands out as just kind of boring to me is when they're going into Kingpin's party and they have to put the bow ties on and they're being waiters. Like it was funny because they were like, "How are we gonna get through this?" And then they just put a bow tie.
It was funny. I could have used without the like Peter B. Parker doing that sob story. Yeah.
But I mean, it was funny because he's like, she thinks he's talking about bread, but he's obviously talking about his universe.
Yeah, but then they carried on the joke a little too long.
Yeah, I know. No, I
think it wasn't.
That's the first one that popped in my head.
I wouldn't have made the joke, but I thought it was funny enough that I know part of it did seem like it was pushing it, but like I just didn't want to hear him sop about it because we hear him sop about it a lot. And then also like the weird part when they're fighting in the last final scene, and he's like, "Do I want kids?"
Oh yeah, because he was all proud of Miles.
Yeah, he was like all proud and like congratulating him. He's like, "Wow, I feel," and then you kind of see where he's coming from, but it's like weird. It's just like,
I thought it was funny.
I mean,
because the whole thing was that they broke up because he didn't want kids.
And then it shows that he wants to go back and change things. I mean, I get it. It just, but speaking on that Kingpin party, how insensitive is that?
That's the whole point of Kingpin, is that he's like, to the public, he's like this philanthropist, and he's like, everybody loves him. But like behind the scenes, he's this evil warmonger, like
but like how insensitive is it to have all the waiters dress up as Spider-Man? The one you're honoring, the one you're honoring in that night shouldn't be dressed like
MJ's there.
Yeah, and it's like, can you imagine MJ? She sees these masks, these like good ones. Those were good ones, not just like the random people on the street, which I get. Everyone wants to show their support and their love for.
That was powerful.
Yeah,
when he dies and they're all like paying tribute to him.
That was insane.
It's just going around seeing everybody in New York like realize that literally they're like superheroes. Spider-Man is dead.
Yeah,
What I hated that. Like, I definitely feel like a news station in that universe. Like, if this was real, and like we had a Spider-Man and Spider-Man died, and like obviously his identity was not known. I feel like they definitely shouldn't have said his identity. Just be like, Spider-Man's dead. But then, like, the inside people, police, reporters can know who he is. But, like, don't report that it's, like, 26-year-old Peter Parker was Spider-Man this whole time. Because then it's
really?
Just, like,
you don't think that our universe, like, in...
No. I'm saying they shouldn't.
They shouldn't, yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying...
There's a lot of stuff that happens that shouldn't.
But I'm saying, in watching this, I was like, I wish they wouldn't have, like, said that it was Peter when he died, because it just seems like, I don't know, he's obviously the savior of the city, he's like their superhero. It should have just been like, Spider-Man's dad. You don't have to say who he is and then all this stuff.
I don't know,
I was just saying, like,
without them saying who it was, MJ wouldn't have been able to come up and talk about.
I know, I get it,
so
I get it,
you're being hypocritical right now.
But I'm saying I get it. I just thought it was weird. Like, I feel like if I was a citizen, I would have been like, I didn't need to know who he was, because then you're just ruining the idea of him. Because the whole point of the movie is that anybody can wear the mask, so just say Spider-Man's gone.
But Peter Parker wasn't aware that a movie was being filmed about him.
We don't need to go there.
Like, I agree that the point of the movie was that anyone could wear the mask.
I would have liked it as like the fan.
I
of
think
being
that
like, oh, it's just like I didn't like that they gave out who he was.
I think that the beauty of it is that despite knowing who he was, they all came with Spider-Man masks because that's what he symbolized. That's who he was to the people. You know?
And I got the first time, I didn't even think about this. The first time I saw it, I didn't even realize that it was already done after Stan Lee died. And when he shows up in that little store, like, because it had just happened. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
You know, when this came out. And I didn't even think that he would be in this movie.
You really?
I just didn't. It didn't even picture to me. Like, I wasn't. Well, okay. I shouldn't say that I didn't think he'd be in it. But, like, I didn't think about the fact that this is the first movie released of a cameo since he's been dead.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about that he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And when he shows up, I, like, literally, I didn't expect to feel that sad about it. I mean, like, my whole childhood is him. I grew up reading all the comics. Like, I was, like, crushed when he died. But, like, I didn't even think about it. And he showed up, and I saw him, like, smile at Miles.
Yeah. They captured him so well.
Like, I instantly was like, oh, my God. Like, I just wanted to cry.
Gosh.
Because I didn't even think about it. I didn't even, you know, and then at the end with the glasses,
yeah, seriously.
I actually teared up at the end. I was like, oh my God, you know, and when they said that thank you for showing us we're not the only one.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Seriously.
It was so special because I didn't even think about it, that it was the
Rest
first
in
one
peace,
to release.
Stanley.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you for all you did.
And it was so amazing. Where he's like, I mean, they always fit eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then they show that classic Stan Lee, like, joke that no refunds or returns ever.
Yeah, I just didn't expect it to, like, it came out of the blue for me, and I was like, oh no, like it hit me right in the gut.
I'm gonna be tragically upset when I see a Marvel film that doesn't have him in it.
Yeah, well, and I've heard people talking about it, how Avengers Endgame is going to be, the new Avengers 4, is going to be the first movie that, since he died, that, like, we're going to see him in it. Obviously, it's going to be the first that he's live action in it.
Yeah.
Because they already filmed it. But this whole time, cause, like, when I was going to see it, what I was saying about how I didn't expect him, you know, whatever, I was picturing it being like, oh, he's dead, but the new Avengers is going to be the first one that we see him. And then that's why I didn't even think about that he'd be in this, and then all of a sudden he's there, and I was like thrown out of left field, and I was just like, oh, is that the phrase? Thrown out of left field? That's not what it is, right?
I don't know, dude.
Out of left field. It's not thrown out. It came out of left field. That's what it is. I think that's what it is. Yeah. Oh my God. Anyways, well, so you already asked me what my least favorite was. Let's try it out. Like, what's a scene that you already know? You already know is going to stick with you after this movie. Like, you think about this movie, you're going to think about this scene, or one that, like, you think will stay with you. What's a scene that you think will stick with you the longest? Like, when you think of this movie, you're going to think of this scene. Like, what's your selected scene?
Oh man, I mean, it's a lot of different criteria for a scene, but
because there's so many in this movie that is already, like, iconic of that's a Spider-Man scene, you know. But what do you think is one that's going to stick with you?
I think that we both mentioned how much we love that scene where he's falling off of the Empire State Building for the first time, right? And I know that one was particularly moving because it's one of the few times in the movie where I mentioned, geez, I thought, geez, that looks gorgeous. And it's so awesome with his jacket.
I think you really liked it because you complained earlier about the colors and the flashes. It was one of the few that it was very muted colors.
Yeah.
It was dark out. It was just him.
Uh-huh.
Like, you didn't have the bright of Spider-Man's red and blue.
Yeah.
So I think that's why you liked it a lot, because
it was tame. It was a lot more tame.
It was very low, like, low colors.
There wasn't a lot going on. I could focus on just the true beauty of the scene, which was him just accepting.
It was a solid montage.
Yeah. But if I had to pick one other than that, it'd probably be when everything after Uncle Aaron dies. Like, when he's shot, and then...
What do you mean, everything after?
Well, not everything after, but, like, the scene where, you know, he takes his body away and he's sitting there talking to him, and Uncle Aaron's like, giving him his last like words. I don't know. Like, it was really moving to me because I felt a lot of like empathy
you mean
towards
when Aaron's dying and he's talking to Miles.
Yeah, but like including when he got shot, because I remember the first time I watched that.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, like I remember when I first watched
like
that.
as soon as
when he pulls down his mask, Uncle Aaron pulls down his mask, and then he steps away, and then, bam.
Yeah, because earlier Aaron was like, I don't remember Kingpin. I don't give up and I don't quit.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm not going to do it to Miles. Because when I first saw it, I actually thought he was going to drop Miles.
I thought so too.
I thought he was going to be like, I'm hardcore and whatever.
Yeah. Which is something we see out of bad guys so often, is even when there's something.
Oh, this was an amazing Prowler.
Yeah.
They did him so good.
Yeah.
Like he was terrifying.
Yeah.
The purple and like he was so like
serious too.
Like it's so overused nowadays, but he was a savage. Like he was actually like savagery in him. Like,
in his claws, movements, in
like, he was so
his attitude,
like brute and savage is like the words that I can think of. Like he was just so forceful in how he walked and moved, and like the sound effects they used for him, like the kind of like machine grinding, like the deep kind of almost Inception like booms, like boom, but then mixed with the mechanical gear sounds, like it was so like he was. If I was a kid, I'd be terrified of Prowler, like terrified,
Yeah,
they did Prowler so good.
Yeah. Anyway, so if we asked you. Well, if I ask you right now, what is your favorite scene you're going to take with you the longest?
Scene? We're going to call it selected scene.
Are we calling it the selected scene?
That's what I said at the beginning.
All right, sure. What is your select... It sounds like you're selecting.
You need that alliteration.
Anyway, what is your selected scene that is going to stick with you the longest?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely the montage of him when he puts the suit on, and then you hear Peter saying it's a leap of faith. It's definitely going to be that.
Yeah.
It's so amazing.
Especially because the music was so moving at that point too.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I wanted to talk about. The soundtrack is like actually so good.
Yeah.
Like as
Spidey Bells was probably my favorite.
They released the full track.
Really?
Yeah, you can listen to the whole thing. It's like 3 minutes.
That's when what? That really? Only 3 minutes long? There were like 8 tracks.
What do you mean only 3 minutes?
There were like 8 tracks they mentioned.
What?
Oh wait. Oh.
Spidey Bells.
I was thinking of when he said I did an album and they scroll through those 9 to 12.
They released Spidey Bells. You can actually listen to it. But the actual album, because they made a full hip hop album, like for the movie, like the snippets of hip hop that you hear through it, like there's full songs.
Yeah.
Like 12.
Yeah,
or something.
I figured. Yeah.
It's so good. I've been listening to it. I listened to it before I saw the movie.
I heard one song that I know I heard before.
Yeah, well, because Vince Staples, I'm a big fan of him. He does the main one, Home. Like that's kind of the main one. You hear it in the trailer, the track about it. And so when they released the full album, I started listening to it the night before we saw the movie, for the first time, and like it's so good. Like as like a hip hop rap fan as well, like it's so good. And I know I joked last time about The Grinch is going to be a run for, out of Kendrick Lamar's Black Panther album. It's like Kendrick Lamar's Black Panther, The Grinch with Tyler, the Creator, and then Spider-Verse with various artists. Like they're so good. This one, like it's very hype. If you like hype hip hop, kind of rap, it was very good.
I thought it might have been oversaturated a little bit with the same genre. I mean,
a little bit.
It was just like at the end of the movie, I was kind of just tired.
But I think you also need to listen to the full album to get the gist of it.
Yeah, I'm just so done with hip hop now. I mean, I'm usually into like that kind of like upbeat like hip hop / rap stuff. Like, I think it's good.
I would recommend at least try to listen to the
I'll
full
try
album.
it.
At least listen
a good decent ways.
Home is very good. Home is very, very good. But what were we talking about? Oh, you said the music during that scene. Yeah, like it was just so pumping. Like it was like almost inspiring in a weird way, where it's like, oh, I want to be like that. Like that kind of.
It gives you that
power.
Feeling that I don't know. I had when I was a kid and I saw Spider-Man. I was like, wow, that would be so cool. Like I would love
when I
to
said
be able to save.
When he first caught himself and then flung, and then he did the little backflip, because like that's the interesting thing too, is that they made Miles seem like he was having a lot of fun with it. Whereas normally, like the Spider-Man we see is like it's
always
kind of
stressed
a job.
about it. Yeah,
it's his job. They made Miles really like he was having fun with flying around like that.
Yeah,
you know, and obviously like he's young, but yeah, of course that's going to be the scene where I'm going over my words. That would definitely be the scene that's going to stick. If I had to pick something else like you did, it would be I'm going to pick two others, and I know that's cheating, but I'm saying it's two different. It leads into my final synopsis of the movie, where it was very interesting with how they did this movie, that it was very exciting but also very heartfelt. So disregarding the obvious choice of that scene with the skyscraper and you know, the two which I think are good examples of the branches is the original fight with Miles sitting on the side and Peter fighting Goblin, and he's kind of witnessing Spider-Man for the first time, and then when Spider-Man like catches him and talks to him for the first time, and he's such a like role model, nice guy. And the jokes landed so perfectly with Peter, and like he's like, hang on, I just gotta go destroy this reactor real quick. Like he's so chill about it. That part was like so good with showing like Miles being this kind of new, you know, he has to grow into this kind of thing, and he's seeing this role model that eventually he will lose, and is kind of the spark for him having to become Spider-Man, like realizing that he can't save everybody, that's the moral and everything. Then the other side is the heartfelt side, where when you said just, one of your words was surprising, and that was what was very surprising to me, is how like wholesome and heartfelt this movie was, with the family dynamic of when the dad is talking to Miles through the doorway, and Miles can't talk back, and like the dad just thinks he's ignoring him, but really he's tied up in spider webs.
So even if he wanted to say something, he couldn't.
And the dad was like, I see your shadow moving. Like I thought that was really interesting details. But that's the other side, is that the heartfelt kind of special moment of like the dad's like, look man, like I know I'm hard on you, but like this also happened. And I thought it was interesting too, he didn't tell him about Aaron at that moment. That's what he came to do, but then he didn't. And how moving that was, where the dad was just like having to come to him and not admit he was wrong, but just be like, look man, like you're a good kid, and like you'll get through it, and like I'm sorry I've been hard on you with this school and all this stuff. And so I'm picking those two because I think it ties into the final thoughts of it was so perfect in the way of, for me, the action and power and like love for the character that this studio had, but then also the surprising part of it, where it's like they built that character as Miles is so good. And storytelling and like the connection with the dad, and like that came out of nowhere for me, with the kind of emotions and like heartfelt moments that came out of the movie that I just wasn't expecting.
Well, that's quite a lot that we left behind the selected scenes door, I guess. All in all, I think we both can say disappointing movie.
Oh shit! Get out right now. That's so interesting. Like I thought when I first saw it, because I first saw it without you, I thought you would love it. I went into it, or I came out of it being like, yeah, he's gonna love this. It's so interesting that you didn't.
I don't know. This is the one movie that people got me hyped up on.
Normally that's me. So it's kind of funny that we like kind of switched sides.
First movie in like 8 years that we've seen and
it's so
been reversed on.
It's so interesting because, like, I mean, I think we've talked about it enough that you can at least respect it. And be
I definitely think it lived up to everyone's expectations but mine.
It literally is like nearly perfect.
Like I think everyone should have a right to feel like it was just or even better than they expected it could be. I just was let down. I don't know how.
And I tweeted it too. Like, I knew it was going to be good, but I was just blown away by how good it was.
I mean, I don't even know if it's like let down, like disappointed. I just am kind of like, it's not that I was let down from my expectations. It's like I expected it to be something else, and then
we'll see how if it lasts. Like, over I don't know months to years.
It might be that I've seen it twice in 4 days. So that might have an effect on.
I don't know. It was just I don't know. That's all I can say. It was just so amazing, and I loved it in every way, and it's one of my favorites. It's going to be one of my favorites, and in storytelling as a Spider-Man character, as a Spider-Man fan.
It was incredible all they
seeing Miles on screen, seeing Gwen on screen, the art style with how they did it. Because if this was a normal animated movie, if this was like DreamWorks did it or something, and it was this same story, like the same thing, same shot, everything, but it was just normally animated, like it looked like a DreamWorks movie, it would not be good at all.
Fit at all, yeah.
Yeah, well, it would be good, but it's the level of art design, and like I think every person that worked on the art and animation for this deserves their own award, not an Oscar. Like they deserve their own little thing, because it was so different and amazing and wonderful, you know. And like, it's weird because I feel like it also wouldn't fit for anyone other than Spider-Man. If this was like a Iron Man movie or something, that kind of art style wouldn't work, I don't think. It feels so Spider-Man to me.
I don't know. Like, I can see where you're coming with it. I don't know. I feel like it could work for Batman.
Yeah, well, yeah. Except you couldn't have the vibrant colors. It would look more like Spider-Man Noir.
Yeah.
Like black and whites.
Yeah.
I guess I could see that. It was really the colors that was so crazy.
Yeah,
it was
and that's
vibrant.
why.
And that's why I think...
Because it's in New York.
I think Miles' suit stood out so well, too, because that vibrant red on the black, you know? And that was a cool twist, too, how he, like, spray painted it.
Yeah.
And it looked, like, very kind of homemade and handmade.
Yeah.
Like, you could see it on his hands, that there was the spray paint speckles and stuff. It was so good.
Yeah.
The art, oh my god. I hope it wins something. Some sort of award somewhere.
Yeah. Well, that's all, folks. Can he legally say that?
Funny. Yeah, that was great. Can he say that, like, legally?
Yeah.
Because as soon as he said it, that popped in my head.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Spider-Man's humor so well, is like, that's what an audience member would have thought.
Yeah.
Like, can he say that? Like, it's Sony. It's not.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers. Well, guys, if you want to let us know what your thoughts are on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, if you're on Team Disappointing or Team, what did I say, Incredible?
Yeah, I think Incredible
I think it was Incredible. So what team you're on, and if you're on Team Disappointing, you're wrong.
Come on, guys, we gotta band together, tight knit community, guys.
If you want to let us know your thoughts, you can email us at themidnightshowingpod@gmail.com, or get a hold of us on our socials. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube is all the same at The Midnight Showing, and our Twitter is backwards at Showing Midnight. Yeah, let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you like the show or how we're doing. We'd always like to get some constructive criticism.
Or you can just,
positive vibes.
Especially for Team Disappointing, because I feel like I'm going to get a lot of flack for that.
Just say hi. Unless you're on Team Disappointing, then don't say hi to me.
Please, I need some help in this. I can't be alone.
You're wrong. This is Solo all over again.
Wait, what? We were on the same side in Solo.
No, not about the helmets.
Oh my god, well, you were wrong about that.
Okay, guys, let us know what team you're on and go listen to Solo, and then let us know what team you're on about that.
Yeah, seriously, we have not gotten a conclusion about it.
Okay, bye guys.
See ya.